and light rain showers moving in Saturday night, rolling through until Sunday. High temperatures around 68.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of KKNW, its management, or other advertisers.
Welcome to the Manuchehri Show, where energy and medicine meet. I will be your host for the next hour. I have over 19 years of healthcare experience and began my career as an energy medicine practitioner while working as an oncology nurse at a Seattle area hospital. My skill in moving energy combined with my medical background have been a catalyst for change in many people's lives. I hope the next hour will be transformative for you as well. Good morning and welcome to the Manuchehri Show. We're live here in gorgeous Seattle. This is like my favorite month. I usually take this whole week off. I went back to work yesterday after traveling from North Carolina, which our guest lives in North Carolina. We're having a guest on the show. I haven't interviewed someone in a while.
Dust off your interviewing chops?
Yeah, I'm going to be dusting those off in a little bit. But she lives in North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains, I heard is stunningly gorgeous. But you know, my last baby got married on Saturday.
Yay!
So yeah, wasn't even the youngest.
Yay.
Yeah.
Aww, congratulations.
Thank you.
Knocking them all out. They're all
I know.
done.
They're like, I'm done. I'm like, wow, you know. So yeah, so Misha and Seth said I do at the Timberlake Sanctuary in North Carolina. It's a stunning 25-acre organic forest. In fact, the rehearsal dinner was in what they call this treehouse. That they have this lovely treehouse. That's where Seth and Misha also slept after their vows. Which
all
was
of
really
your daughter's weddings have been amazing.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
Venues picked out perfectly.
Right.
I mean, because
each one for them.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they all had little personalities, but they all worked exactly how
you know,
I
Seth and Misha are agronomists, you know, and they actually live in Oklahoma. And so they're outside all the time. They hike, they backpack, they work outside. Yeah. So, of course, they want to get married in the woods, literally. So on the rehearsal dinner, we were serenaded, I would say, by millions of crickets.
Aww.
It was so loud. Okay, there was the occasional flying cockroach and the non-poisonous centipede flying around too, or crawling on things.
That's wildlife.
But it was just like breathtaking. It was so amazing. I didn't want to leave. It was so beautiful. So congratulations to them. So today, for our first half hour, I'm interviewing Corinne Cayce. She is the granddaughter of Edgar Cayce, who I believe, and we'll find out more from Corinne. It'll be really fun to chat with her and get to know her a little bit. She's going to be in Seattle October 20th at East West Bookshop teaching a class. So it'll be fun to find out more about Edgar Cayce, of course, from an official family member who was raised in the Cayce teachings.
In the first 2 minutes of just chatting with her before, it's like such a presence already.
Right? Really, really lovely.
She's owning it.
And so Corinne Cayce, we're welcoming you to the show. She's the great-granddaughter of the American mystic Edgar Cayce. And I think of, hello, Corinne, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Marty.
Yeah, lovely to have you. So what I think of when I think of Edgar Cayce, I always think of him as the first modern medical intuitive. That's how I look at him. I've always loved his work and his teachings. I've had the privilege of speaking to your organization once here in Seattle and listening to teachers within the organization who are just profound and enlightened and extremely wise. So what was it like being raised in this very consciously aware family that also believes in health and medicine in a way that most people don't?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, you know, when I was a little girl growing up in my family, it was completely normal.
Right.
There was nothing that stood out as unusual for me. I mean, we lived on a small farm close to the ocean. We spent lots of time outside, and I have a clear memory of, you know, maybe I was in second grade and we needed to come in to our class prepared to say what our parents did. And at that point, both of my parents worked for the ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, that sort of houses all of Edgar Cayce's readings and continues to study them and offer lots of conferences and such. But my father encouraged me to say that he was a child psychologist, which he was, and that my mother was a social worker, which she was, both trained and worked in those fields, but were no longer doing that at the time. And I think that was just sort of a gentle effort on my parents' part to help it feel normal for me, you know, and sort of gradually as I got older, and certainly now as I look back, there are some things that really stand out to me as unique, that were very much part of just the fabric of my everyday. And probably, the first most profound thing that was always there was this idea that there's more to us than our physical body.
Right.
My parents would tuck us into bed at night, and as part of our nightly prayers would say, thank you so much for choosing us, for coming to this family. And so
Aww.
I think since the very beginning, there was just kind of this awareness of
Right.
there is more than what I can see right now. Like, at some point there was some part of me that may have lived before, and that there was just sort of that awareness, which I think is very unique and unusual. And certainly, as you mentioned, with all of the Cayce readings on health and healing, there were things that were part of our everyday, like not eating citrus and dairy together, and just sort of very routinized pieces from the readings on how to live, what to eat, and drink, and how to sort of move through your days in a healthy way, that were very much a part of the way that my parents were raising me as well. Is that's off the top of my head, probably
It's lovely. I think
most distinct thing.
when I'm reading information about you too, I think that you've also thankfully for your teachings. I was raised very similarly, very blessed for that. That with your teachings, you're able to take it kind of, and I don't want to say to the next level, because I do think health and awareness and taking care of our bodies and using holistic treatments is absolutely 100% what humans need to be doing. And Edgar Cayce has volumes of information, right? The foundation does, where people can look up things, read about a case history that may relate to what's going on with them, and try holistic remedies that have proven to work. So I think it's phenomenal. But then we take it to, and I guess the next level isn't maybe an appropriate word for that, but everything's about vibration, right? Everything's about frequency and vibration. And so what you love doing in your approach to life coaching, which is what I believe you're going to be teaching later on in October coming up. You'll leave the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains and come to Seattle, which should be gorgeous, hopefully still in October. Yeah. Have you been to Seattle before?
I have. It's been a couple of years, but I remember liking it a lot. I remember it being a little bit rainy.
Yeah, it might be rainy in October. Today is stunning. Like, there's not a cloud on the sky. It's just so beautiful.
So that is nice.
So, from what you've learned on your own, perhaps, thankfully for the freedom that you've had in your life to, to have a different consciousness, perhaps. You've learned a lot about frequency and vibration and joy. And that's what you like to do, is to help people, to help lead people to this place of vibrational joy so that they can attract or identify what is next in their life, right? Would you say that's accurate?
I would say that's accurate. Yeah, I would say that probably the two, if we are going to look sort of beyond the health readings, as you were talking about, to more of the questions that Edgar Cayce got in his readings about, what we're doing here, and what is the purpose of our life, and sort of what happens after we die, and all of the sort of bigger metaphysical questions that he was asked. Probably the things that he mentioned most consistently that would be helpful for every person in their daily life here the first thing would be meditation, and the second thing would be working with your ideals, which I think touches on what you're talking about around how we sort of work with our minds, work with our vibration, work with ourselves to sort of envision and get really clear and sort of claim how we want to be living our life and how we want to be showing up, and to sort of really take time to clarify that in our own minds and write it down and get kind of closer and closer to sort of the purpose that Edgar Cayce said for each soul here, which is to recognize our oneness with God, which very quickly, gets very, very esoteric and out there. But
not to my audience or our audience today. Definitely not. Our audience loves all of that. Like the God word, or the universe word or whatever. And
right.
It's so interesting. A lot, because Edgar Cayce is so known for his medical awareness and his medical intuitive abilities, right? And yet
Absolutely.
I think sometimes we forget, what a spiritualist he was, just
Right.
so profound. Like he really believed in the magnificence of every being. And that's what his teachings talk about over and over and over again, is about how
Right.
profound we are.
Mm-hmm.
So you attended and I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, the Naropa University.
Yes.
Is that in Colorado?
It is. It's in Boulder, Colorado.
It's in Boulder,
yeah.
right. And so you got your master's degree there in leadership.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Yeah.
so what was your goal when you were studying the leadership aspect of that?
Well,
And I love your
I don't
laugh,
know.
by the way. That's adorable.
My goal. I wish I was that clear-headed at 23. I don't know what my
Right.
exact goal was. I think my motivation at the time was I was really ready to dive in deeper with meditation, to have some structure and some discipline and some deeper teachings around meditation. And Naropa is a contemplative university founded by a Buddhist teacher that really weaves in contemplative mindfulness meditation practice to every program and every degree. Like you can't get away from it there. And that's what I was really after and wanting to give myself. And then the leadership specifically, another sort of core idea from the readings that I absolutely got growing up in my house was that so much of what our life is about is being of service, of determining what we can offer that is hopeful and helpful, and how can we learn from the things that are challenging us in a positive way to help other people. And that was just so much of what what was happening in my home and what my own longing for. And the leadership for me, I thought it also ties into this idea of ideals of sort of how can we be our best? How can we achieve excellence not only alone, but when we're together in groups, whether it's our work group or our family group or our social group, like how can we be our best? And specifically looking at what challenges us, where our conflicts are, and like where we are prone to getting off track and to beat ourselves up or become dysfunctioning in some way, and how can we improve? How can we shift that so that we can work really well together? We can handle conflict skillfully. We can be happy, joyful, as you said. Like how can we return to that place? So leadership I saw as sort of a pathway, not necessarily for a specific job, but for a specific way of being able to be of service in whatever sort of job I wanted to do. And it set the groundwork, I would say, definitely for where I am now with the holistic life coaching and being a life coach, and how much I love that there was a whole training piece around authentic presence and coaching itself. So there were some seeds that got planted in that program for where I am now.
Yeah,
Sure.
I definitely think it's important to recognize where our resistance is. And when you're in resistance, you may not see it clearly because all your buttons are pushed, or a few of them, and you're blinded by the situation. You may feel yourself regress, in your coping mechanisms.
Totally.
But if you're conscious enough and aware enough, which comes from stillness and meditation and all the beautiful things that you love and are interested in, then when you're out of it and you kind of get back on track, then you can go, oh yeah, oh wow, that pushed all of my buttons. So that when you come to that position again, because it will happen again in some way, shape, or form, most likely, then you can be mindful of, oh yeah, this is the place where I tend to drop my joy. This is the place where I tend to abandon myself for a few moments because I feel insecure, unhappy, I'm back in past conflict, whatever the deal is. And then we can be very self-nurturing and very, very loving, and maybe make it kind of humorous, I think it's so fun when you can, and I just spent a whole weekend with my entire family, so and it was a very joyful experience, but there's a few button pushings that, I had. Luckily not with my kids, but my other family members, right? The ones that I grew up with. And it was so fun later after I took a day of rest, and to go, oh, wow, okay,
Yeah.
that's going to probably happen again. And I want to be mindful in that moment so we can,
Right.
this is all about us allowing ourselves to be in our higher self at any moment. And some people may get it when they walk into their job or,
hmm
they leave their house and get into traffic or whatever the deal
Right.
is, right?
Right.
And
Right.
that's what slows us down. It's that on and off, on and off, on and off
hmm
energy that doesn't really
Yeah.
allow us to be in that,
Yeah.
phenomenal
Yeah.
place of our magnificence that we all are. We're
Right.
all magnificent beings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's such a piece there. Um, I love what you're saying. And I think there's just a real thread there that has become so clear to me recently. And this is part of what I'm looking forward to talking about when I'm in Seattle and exploring with the people.
Oh,
There's
perfect.
is this thread of when we get those moments, right, when we have the time, when we get totally triggered and we are just not ourselves at all or feeling good, and then we have a moment to sort of reflect back and see what we want to do differently or how we want to be, and then we're in this situation again, right, like just like you
Right.
said, like, but then there's a small tiny gap, right, a small tiny
Yeah.
gap between the same awful words pouring out of our mouth, between like, oh, here's this time where I'm doing this thing that I don't want to do, and then
Right.
there's the gap where we notice we're doing it and then we still do it anyway, and then just the hope is like the gap gets a little bit bigger and
Right.
we can hold back, and there's such a core piece there around being good to ourselves through all the
Yes.
times. How many moments we
Yes.
have, if you think about our days, where we're just not showing up the way we want to, and
Yes.
how that creates this sort of shell that can be too tight for us, saying we're not doing a good enough job, right? We're
Right.
not doing it right. Like we're somehow not good
Right.
enough to be, to be alive. Basically, I mean, at its worst point. But like, and that's the place, that sort of fear place that so often starts to shift our lives in ways that we don't want, that we start.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do you think it's
yeah,
the self-love, like, because when you are loving yourself and nurturing yourself, that's consciousness, right? That's where you
right,
recognize you are a being of God and
right.
you're delicious and adorable and magnificent and handsome and wonderful, no matter what has occurred or hasn't occurred. So do you think it's that
hmm
moment where you somehow get humorous about it or you don't belittle yourself or throw yourself under the bus? Do you think that's what creates
hmm
that larger gap where the gap gets a little, maybe by a few minutes, or
hmm
and we don't need an hour of a gap, we just need
right.
like maybe an additional 45 seconds or 3 or 4 minutes or whatever the deal is. Do you think, because I think it is, but I'd love to know what you think, is it
hmm
that self-worth that makes that gap bigger, that we go,
hmm
I'm about
hmm
to, I could dive in that old space again,
hmm
Do you think that's
hmm
what it is, or do you have another thought about
No,
it?
I absolutely do think that's what it is,
Mm.
and I think often that voice, that like harsh, mean voice of fear
Yeah.
that's there, it takes a while to get to, right? Like often we can start correcting ourselves or wanting to be different with another mean should voice, right?
Yes. Oh,
That's
yeah.
not the self-love. That's not the sense of being okay just as things are. And I know for myself, when I was at Naropa and started doing all of that meditation, like that's when I suddenly started to be able to hear those voices. Like they were,
Oh,
I
love
had
it.
I had I had thought for so often, like I have confidence. I feel good about myself. Like I don't need
Right.
anyone. I don't need and it was just sort of like. But then there was just subtler and subtler sort of layers um, of of the harshness and sort of how to be able to sort of stay with it, like the tension between, right, like the joyful, loving, magnificence, like embracing of ourselves just as we are and trusting that we are held in this, golden bowl of the universe, and this like fear of not being good enough and
Right.
doing it wrong and
Right.
berating ourselves for
Right.
how often we're not that person. The tension between those two, right, is the past,
Right.
is the is is where it all unfolds, kind of, and that's I think where coaching can really come in and be so powerful, and so many tools, the meditation and just and I loved exploring your website a little bit, and the energy work that you talk about there, and the ways that we sort of learn to care for ourselves and find our way. So all part of that.
Yeah, it's all about frequency and vibration. And I think when we can catch ourselves in those really difficult moments, that, and be nurturing or whatever, laugh about it or whatever the deal is, that's when we expand. We expand our aura. We feel that alignment to our higher self. We can hear, see, or feel our own magnificence and the magnificence of the others around us that are pushing our buttons in that moment, because that's just a perception, right? It's only a perception. And I think that when we can embrace those moments, which is so hard, because
so hard.
Right. It's so hard and humbling. It's such a humbling experience, right?
Totally.
That I think helps us to, love and appreciate every human being on the planet and helps us to understand what people are going through. Okay, so you have this, unique approach to life coaching, right? So so maybe you could share a little bit about that while we have a few more minutes before we go to our first break.
Sure. Right. So life coaching is kind of a wide open field. Like anyone, you can sort of make it your own, and however you want. There's all sorts of different schools and trainings and certificates and everything. But right now, it's very different than therapy or consulting or any of these other things as far as needing a degree or a license to be able to practice. So for my life coaching practice, I draw primarily on certainly my path as a student of the Edgar Cayce readings, although I will say that all of the women I'm coaching right now are not any more deeply than sort of generally familiar with the readings themselves. I wouldn't consider, if at all. So that's much more a covert operation on my part of just sort of grounding it in that. And then also the my training in mindfulness meditation and my leadership training also really informs it. So I work primarily with women who are either in times of transition or facing a particular challenge related to their relationships or work or mothering. I have 2 young children myself, so mothering is a particularly ripe area in my life right now. And then I see it as kind of a combination of friend, mother, teacher, like holding this kind of special space of being an objective partner in your life to sort of bring in these different tools and perspectives for women who are really ready to, who are feeling kind of like they're ready for their life to be different in some way, that they have the energy and the motivation to sort of take some form of action, or they're just extremely uncomfortable with something and they're needing some form, some tools and some way of dealing. And it was through this, the last number of years that I've been doing this, where this terrain of fear and sort of self-love and how that connects back to teachings in the readings and how that informs that path, and Buddhism itself as well, in addition to sort of everything that we know about the brain now that we didn't know, when Edgar Cayce was giving his readings back in the 20s and 30s, and so sort of weaving all of those things together, I would say, is part of my practice now.
Well, lovely. And thank you so much, Corinne, for being on the show this morning and giving us a heads up about your class that will be at East West Bookshop on October 20th. Do you know what time that class is?
I believe it's all day. I think it starts maybe around 9 to 4 or 5, something
Wonderful.
like that, 9:30.
And people can go to East West Bookshop and register for that. And what's your website? How can people connect with you?
Oh, my website is Cayce, which is CAYCE, coaching.com.
Wonderful, wonderful. We wish you a wonderful trip here in Seattle and a lovely class on October 20th. And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Take care.
Okay. And we're going to take a break here on the Marie Manuchehri Show. Then we'll be right back answering our callers' questions.
Midnight Don't miss Corinne Cayce, the great-granddaughter of the psychic Edgar Cayce, speaking at East West Bookshop on Saturday, October 20th. She'll talk about lessons from the Edgar Cayce readings, Buddhism, and the latest brain research. Call the East West Bookshop today at 206-523-3726 to register, or visit them at eastwestbookshop.com. That's eastwestbookshop.com.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
I'm Gary Mance.
I'm Suzanne Mitchell.
We're a couple of baby boomers who bring you a talk radio mix of metaphysics and music, politics, and pop culture.
And you never know which celebrity will join us for an interesting conversation.
Mance and Mitchell is Boomer HQ, Friday and Saturday mornings at 10 on 1150 AM KKNW.
Your home for alternative talk in Seattle and Western Washington.
Marie Manuchehri has had the pleasure and honor of shifting the vibration of thousands of clients and students from around the world. Her method, Divine Energy Medicine, is the art of raising the human energetic frequency, leading to mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. During this 2-day intensive course, you will discover how to read the energy of others while improving your relationship with yourself, gain intuitive knowledge of the synergetic relationship between chakras and human feelings, and identify energetic locations and actions of the energy centers. Join Marie on Saturday, March 23rd and Sunday, March 24th, 2019 in Vancouver, Washington, and practice Divine Energy Medicine to increase your ability to connect deeply with others. For more information, go to energyintuitive.com.
The Marie Manuchehri Show is streamed live over the internet. So if you have friends or family members living outside of the Seattle area, wanting answers to life's questions, encourage them to listen to the show and to call into the show to talk with Marie. If you are interested in receiving guidance on an issue in your life, call Marie locally at 425-373-5527 or toll free at 1-877-825-8828 for her insight into your situation.
Alternative Talk, 1150 on AM, 98.9 HD3 on HD, 1150kknw.com on the web.
Watch us go round and round each time. You got that daydream look in your eye, and I got that red lip classic thing.
Oh, thank you, Vinny. That's such great music. We had so much fun dancing at the wedding. And of course, 4 of my girlfriends flew to North Carolina for the wedding. So thank you.
One more.
Thank you.
There you
It was
go.
so nice to have my dear beloved friends with me dancing in the moonlight, in the mountain. It was just, and just how much they love Misha and how I just so appreciate their presence there. It was wonderful. And, I'm just so grateful.
Sounds like it was an
It
amazing
was
time.
so much fun. And I know we haven't talked about politics because honestly, I can't even listen
So much
to
going
the
on.
interview right now because
They're in the middle of it.
I know it's going to make me upset. So I'm just going to watch the highlights. I'm like, oh my gosh, Brett Kavanaugh should not even be, he should not even leave committee. Hello, this is so bad. And so everybody's going to vote in November, and you're going to vote blue so we can get good people into the White House and the Senate and the House, and we can, stop any future Supreme Court justices that are going to, vote negatively against women or just people in general. And then we'll get a different president in a couple years who's hopefully got some color and maybe a woman. That would be nice for a change. That would be really lovely. But whoever, a lovely, lovely human being who cares about humanity and wishes us all happiness and joy and health and honors reproductive rights and all the stuff. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about it for now.
All right.
All right, who do we have on the phone line?
Wiping it clean.
Yeah, we're wiping it clean.
All right, 877-825-8828 is the number for the Manuchehri Show. And kudos to all the listeners already still holding from the very beginning.
Yeah, thank you.
We had a wonderful interview with Corinne Cayce, and so now we will move on to those phone
so
calls.
you're right. Everybody's been waiting for half an hour
They
or
love
more.
you. They
Very
love you.
sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Who do we
Sharon.
have?
Yeah, Sharon from West Seattle. Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Sharon. How are you?
We're really good, Sharon. How are you?
I'm scrambled.
Are you scrambled?
Oh, no.
Why? What's up?
2 weeks ago, I went into hospital and had a very mild stroke. And the next day, I had a grand mal seizure.
Oh.
They let me come home.
Uh-huh. That was nice of them, yes.
Yeah, but I can't drive for 6 months.
Well, yeah. When you have a seizure, they don't let anyone. It doesn't matter what happened.
Yeah. The thing is, I want to know from you if you see anything that I could be doing that I'm not doing.
Well, first of all, what I like about it is you're getting some rest.
Yeah.
You know, because you tend to be busy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I mean, I'm sorry you had a stroke, but I'm really happy you went in the hospital and they've done every test now. They've checked you out from head to toe, basically. And they've given you some help, a little bit of medicine.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. So I think this is a good thing.
Well, they're not quite done testing.
No, of course not. But this is good. This is really good. You needed to go in. You don't take really great care of yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, that's disappointing to hear because I always thought I kind of did. I do like my share of junk food, but I'm eating more vegetables.
Okay, eating junk food regularly is not taking good care of yourself. You can't do it. It's not good for us. It's just like bleh. It's bleh for the body. So I'm actually I think this is going to prolong your life, by the way, because you've gone in, you've had your good checkup, head to toe, and of course they're going to continue to take care of you, and you get to rest and get necessary whatever you might need. I think this is really good. Your energy looks great to me. You're pulling in energy from the root, the crown, the third eye. So I want you to, instead of thinking this is a setback, I want you to take it as, yay!
Okay.
Because you recovered from the stroke really well.
I really did.
You did.
I don't
feel
I have any deficits at all.
I don't feel so. So this is awesome. This is the picture I keep getting in my head. Well, why I know everything that I'm saying, and what I'm about to say is not what happened to you, but it's a metaphor for me. So sometimes people will have a mild heart attack, like it doesn't cause any serious cardiac damage, but they find out that they have these arteries that are full of junk from eating junk food. So they go in and do a roto-rooter into their arteries or do a bypass, and now their cardiac function is amazing, and they've added decades to their life. So that's how I feel when I read your energy. And when I looked at your energy, and so this is a good thing. So, but this is also a wake-up call. No more junk food. Stop it. It's not healthy. Yeah.
They looked at all my arteries.
I know.
I know. Everything, and everything is pristine.
Right. Isn't that amazing?
It is.
Yeah. So this is great. Go have a lovely life. Go rest and eat more vegetables.
So what should I be doing?
I just told you. Have fun. Have fun. Don't get in that depressed mode that makes you go eat the junk food. Go for walks. Have fun with friends. Whatever. When they tell you it's okay to go for long walks, just have fun.
Well, I've already done that.
All right. Well, take it easy, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. Have a lovely day.
Thanks, Sharon, for joining us. 877-825-8828 is the number for the Marie Manuchehri Show. We'll move right along. We'll take Julie now, calling in from Seattle. Julie, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Hi, I'm really good.
Good.
I'm calling because I feel like I have just been getting really clear about who I am.
Oh,
And
congratulations.
No,
That's
it's
such
just been really transformational.
Isn't it amazing when you can actually see yourself? It's like, oh, there I am, and of course that's a lifelong experience, right? We're like, oh, and there's some more of me, and oh my gosh, I'm over here too, like it's just phenomenal. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations.
Exactly.
Oh, so what's your question?
So why am I having
grief?
I want to say some neck, spine, kind of going down to my leg, but maybe the top of my skull, kind of like not top of my skull, but where the top of the neck meets the skull. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so here's what I heard is that you have some grief to release. Do you cry very much?
I don't have anything to cry about.
Yeah. Well, here's what I think. When people start to see their magnificence, there is this letting go, and this whole spine is about letting go. There's a letting go of who we thought we were that I think is important. And so, and you don't necessarily have to have tears, and it doesn't have to be a huge amount if you do, but I think you need to do some grief work. I think, letting go of who you thought you were through some release of sadness, because you're not going to be that person anymore, and moving into the person that you are, that's what I think is coming up. And I don't think you let yourself feel grief very often.
Interesting.
And I think grief,
right.
Pardon?
I think you're right.
Okay, great. And I think grief, when we allow ourselves to experience it, even for a moment, it doesn't have to be days, weeks, months. It can be just moments at a time. Sometimes I think that's even more authentic, where it's just a spontaneous wave. I think it can be very powerful in propelling you to the next level even. So just get curious about it. Rest in your abdomen, connect with your authentic emotional body, which is in your auric field. I talk about this a lot on the show. I'm sure you have heard me say that. Do your best to get out of your head, rest in your body, and just ask, how am I feeling? How am I feeling right now? And I think you'll get all the information that you need.
Great.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a gorgeous day. Isn't Seattle stunning today?
It's amazing.
Yeah. And I just had all the yard guys at my house yesterday. Like, they did major work. So I'm like, oh, now I can just go out and pull a few weeds, sprinkle some fertilizer, maybe put some lime on the lawn. I don't have to do any of the hardcore stuff. I'm so happy.
A friend of mine, Julie, she doesn't have a pool, but she has a lawn boy. So you must have multiple lawn boys.
I have multiple, yes, right?
Here, lawn boy.
I had some lovely men come to the house yesterday and just pulled all the, because there's like there's behind my house is a wetland area. And so nature really just like comes into my yard because it's on the side and behind me. And there's so many spiders right now.
Yeah, it's the season.
Yeah. And so I'm too scared to pull the weeds in those areas. And they just did it so fast and so quick. And it looks stunning. And I got to go get some bark and throw it down quick. Or
they're coming back.
They're going to come back, those weeds. Yeah. Well, who do we have next?
Yeah, we'll travel out to Northern Virginia. We have
Ooh.
Nicole joining us. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nicole.
Nicole, are you there?
Hello.
Okay, what we're going to do is
Okay,
put
we'll just
Nicole
put her
back
on
hold for a
hold
minute. We'll check back with her. Claire from Ohio. Claire, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Claire. How are you?
Oh, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I know you.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yeah.
How excited to talk to you.
Oh. So what can I do for you?
Let's see. I have one issue that I'm having at work. I have a new job. I'm a social worker in healthcare.
Right.
But I go out to people's homes. It's hospice, which is really fun.
Thank you so much for doing that. That is just
thank you.
amazing. Thank you. Are you having any weird experiences?
Like sometimes, yeah. I wonder if it's just my imagination or
No.
if I'm really okay.
Yeah. You know, when people are with someone around the time of their death, which could even be months before, right? When you're around people who are in that process of transition, gateways, literally archways of opening, occur all around that person, their home, the hospital, wherever they happen to be in their transitional experience, because their energy is leaving their body and coming back, or leaving and part of it is, let's say on the other side, waiting for the rest of it to show up, right? So there's a lot of energy movement that's very profound, and people who are sitting with individuals or working with them like you are, they can have many, many multisensory experiences because they're right in the thick of this, huge vibrational transition and openings. Okay, so what's your question, though?
Oh, well, that's good to hear, because just funny things happen. Like I'll see a patient and they'll die the next day or whatever, or that day.
Yeah.
So it is a huge privilege. It really
is. It's beautiful. Thank you for doing it. It's really lovely work.
Thanks. But one problem I'm having is that, I work in healthcare, traditional healthcare, as you know, and I get frustrated because, like, I have, I take vitamins, and I see a chiropractor, and I do acupuncture occasionally, and, I take an adrenal supplement, blah, 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 whatever. And it's frustrating to see all these people not, the healthcare, my coworkers, but also patients.
Yeah, well, you could make different changes. You could study non-traditional healthcare and consider moving in that realm. and you have to let go of the choices that people make. That's really important. So either you have to find a way where you don't judge, and I know you're judging positively. You only wish them health and happiness, but people are at different levels of consciousness. So as long as you're going to work in conventional medicine, because when I look at medicine, which I love, I love it, miss it, think it's an amazing. To me, it's very similar to politics. It's very similar to the law. It moves slowly.
Right.
So there's not going to be any major shift in consciousness. And you moved to Ohio. You used to live in Seattle. So, so not only, and I must say, I had a little spill a couple months ago, and I went to the ER for some x-rays. Luckily, I didn't break anything, which was fortunate. And the first thing the doctor in the ER said to me, he doesn't know me, of course. And I was in the hospital I worked in that I loved. He goes, and by the way, don't go see a chiropractor. If I had more with me, but I was in so much pain that I couldn't really yell at him, I would have said, excuse me, what are you talking about? I've been seeing a chiropractor, my whole family's been seeing chiropractors for generations, right? But I didn't say that. So, and that's in Seattle. So what I'm trying to say to you is you need to either be okay with the way conventional medicine is and the fact that your coworkers are going to eat crap and not take good care of themselves. You have to be okay with that, or you need to find a different venue to do your work.
Okay. So do you feel like I have the universal support if I went and became a naturopath?
Of course. Everyone has the support of the universe. Everyone does. When you do things that are in alignment of your highest good, that brings you joy, that gets you excited and curious, you have more support than you could ever imagine. You get the momentum of the universe. So absolutely. Yeah. Go figure something out that makes you happy, that's other than conventional medicine, whatever that is. Go check out some things. Go take some classes, look at things. Yeah, just go. You know how to do all this. You're very smart. So go figure it out and see what makes you go, ah. And then,
okay.
All right. And then you can be surrounded by like-minded people.
Okay, so do you kind of see a move for me?
Well, I think you should move back to Seattle, but that's just me.
That's so nice.
Yeah. No, you can live wherever you like Ohio, don't you? You seem happy there.
I feel happy except that holistic health piece.
Yeah. So you just need to, obviously there are holistic practitioners everywhere in the country, around the world, and where you are too. So I think you just need to go find your people and your tribe and stay connected to them.
Okay. Awesome advice. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, thanks, Claire, for joining us from Ohio. 877-825-8828 is the number. We'll travel back to Northern Virginia. Hopefully we've got Nicole standing by. Nicole, hello.
Hey, I'm here.
Yay.
Thank you.
Great. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm lovely. What can I do for you?
Well, I've been going through treatment for Lyme disease and co-infections for when I was diagnosed in 2013.
And you're still doing the treatment?
Go ahead.
You're still doing the treatment?
I am. I've been moved into what they call maintenance. The protocol was major antibiotics for a couple weeks, and then you take time off, and they would treat co-infection separately, and it's been going on for a long time. And so I've been.
Are you ready to stop?
I've been ready to stop for a long time.
Okay, so here's what I my specialty is autoimmune disorders. Of course, every disease is based on the immune system. So I love the immune system. It makes me so happy. And I even love immune disorders because we've learned so much, about the body and the mind. And so people who have a tendency to have immune disorders kind of chronically in their body need to think positively. So this means, and you can disagree with me, this means you have this a tendency to think more negatively. When we look at the solar plexus, which is the third chakra in the body, it has a strong connection, which governs the immune system. The third chakra governs the immune system. So it has a strong relationship with the mind because the third layer of the aura, which is, an energy body outside of you, is the mental plane. So all of your thoughts affect your immune system. So you have to learn to think happily all the time, regularly. You have to train yourself. And this will take care of your immune disorder, which you've done all the right things.
I've known everything you're telling me.
I know. Well, you have resistance to it. You like to complain a little bit more than I think you should. And your soul wants you to learn this. Otherwise, this would not have happened. You picked the perfect time to learn to be a positive person. Perfect time in the world to be a positive person. So you need to work on this. And then you're just going to be happily noticing how much better you feel, how longer you feel better. You're going to gain that consciousness. You're going to notice when you're in resistance, just like how Corinne and I were discussing earlier. You're going to notice that, and you're going to have bigger gaps where you can have more opportunities to choose to be in the happy place versus the place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So congratulations. This is great.
Can I ask you another question about?
Quickly.
I have been suffering from insomnia for a couple of years, and that is a side effect of the disease. And
I think you need to stop saying that you have Lyme's disease. Number one, I don't want you to pull that energy towards you. I think part of this is hormonal, and I think there's many, many things that you can do that are very positive and effective to help you to sleep. So I want you to write into my website. It's energyintuitive.com. Say, this is Nicole from Virginia. You're on the phone with me. I have insomnia. You're going to make some suggestions, potentially. You can ask your naturopath about it, or whomever is some of your caregivers. And so, again, no more negative speaking. I don't want you to say the word insomnia anymore. Here's what I want you to say to yourself. What if questions, right? What if every night my sleep is wonderful? What if? I want you to start changing the vibration in your body so it can match what you want versus matching what you don't want. Okay?
Got it.
Yay. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Thanks, Nicole, for joining us. 877-825-8828 is the number for the Marie Manuchehri Show. We have time for maybe 1, 2 if we can get. And we'll start with Kelly. Kelly's calling in from Seattle. Hi, Kelly.
Hi. Hi, Marie.
Hi, Kelly. What can I do for you?
I'm really excited to be talking with you. I took your intuitive class last year.
Ooh, how did it go?
It was really cool. You did a scan for me, which was neat.
Oh, fun.
I was wondering if you could just do a read on me. I'm having some. I have physical challenges, health challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I have for a long time, and I have a potential upcoming surgery next year, and I just sort of want to have a read.
Okay, so what do you do to counter your health challenges? What do you do? Like, what's your?
I have been, really trying to change my nutrition. I've been trying to build strength, and I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks from Greg Braden, Joe Dispenza.
Great.
To try to stay in that zone.
And do you ever listen to Esther Hicks?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. I listen to her every day, believe it or not. I even listened to her on the way to the show today because, as Benny knows, I don't always leave with a ton of time to get to the radio show, And I didn't have my assistant in the car with me, so I couldn't get in the carpool lane to get on the freeway. But I know a sneaky route where...
don't tell everybody.
Yeah, with my toll pass that I can, as one person, I can legally get in the toll lane immediately, but I have to Anyway, so I knew
that's why I say don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's why I knew if I was listening to Esther, I would get here in plenty of time, which did happen. I got here with several minutes to spare, which is in radio, that's kind of all you need, because they have to do commercials. And so if you get here before your show, you could at least have 5 more minutes at least, sitting in the studio. So at any rate, that's, I think, why I got here. I had an easy time getting a parking spot. I remembered the code to the garage. And again, I don't have my assistant with me, got my tea. I didn't spill any on me. It was just a win-win-win-win experience. And I think it's because I was listening to Esther, because I love her so much. I think she's incredible, and I know she will heighten my vibration. So this is what you need to do. You're already identifying things that heighten frequency, and I want you to identify some more things that bring you more joy that you just have to click on a YouTube video every few seconds or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Keep on the right track. I like it. I like Joe Braden. I like Greg Braden, and I love Joe Dispenza. I think they're both wonderful guys. But they also talk a lot, and no offense. I think they're amazing. They're incredible. I think you need more of a frequency when you're listening to YouTube things. Does that make sense?
Okay. Do you
Okay.
get a sense of if surgery is a good idea to keep going, or?
I get a sense, I feel like you're in the middle. It would be really nice if you could not have the surgery, right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Right.
So
it would be.
It would be super nice. So I just think you need to elevate your energy. I know this sounds like a lot, but even 20% more. I really see what they told me was 40, but I'm like, can we give me a better number? And they said, okay, if she can just get it up 20% more, then I think, and so try Esther Hicks. And she may not be she may not make you as happy as it makes me. That doesn't matter. Okay. I want you to find things that are going to maybe it's a funny show, because laughter, it helps so much. If you can laugh your head off, that's high frequency, right?
Okay.
Like when we
So
were
just
at
things
the
that are high
high
vibration.
vibration, and you don't have to listen
Okay.
to an hour of a podcast, just a few minutes here and there, just to keep that frequency up. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome, and we're sending you joyful blessings for a healthy body, and
All
only
right. Thanks,
only
Maureen.
positive energy if you have to have surgery, of course, to
Okay.
the OR and the docs and the tools. But I think you could maybe not have the surgery, which would be amazing.
That would be great. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Marie.
You're welcome. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly, for joining us. 877-825-8828. We actually have all open lines right now. We just blew right through them.
I know.
So
Isn't
if
that
you can
lovely?
sneak in, we can get one in.
And you know
Gotta do
why
it now, though.
why we're waiting for someone potentially to call in is also my online course is coming up October 10th. And I believe the 24th. It's a 90-minute online course. I think we have a few spots left. So you can go to energyintuitive.com and sign up for the class. I know we have a commercial that's playing for it as well. I'm very excited. It's all about intuition. So the first 90-minute online course, I'm going to be talking and teaching about how the layers of intuition work, because we have this huge, amazing multi-universe that's available to us. And to understand it, to feel it, to connect with it, to kind of get some idea that you're not just this only person living in the physical realm, sitting in your car or your home or at your job, that there's so much surrounding you and so much available for you, is going to be the focus of our first class. And then the second class is about how do you personalize your ability to intuit and receive information. And I'm just so excited about the whole thing. It's going to be super fun.
You should be excited. 100%.
I am super excited. And I'm very happy, too, that I met a centipede that wasn't poisonous, because I kind of met a centipede when I was in Hawaii that was poisonous. I didn't know. I assumed it was poisonous because it was red, very fast. I encountered it in this room. And luckily, I didn't try to pick it up and move it out of the house because I don't kill bugs. I'm one of those people that removes.
And that's what you probably should have needed to do, is just leave it alone. Let it run away.
It was so fast that it got away.
Let's jump to the phones. Hi, you're live on the air with the Marie Manuchehri Show. What's your name?
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, this is Melissa.
Hi, Melissa. Welcome to the show.
Melissa.
You're live on the air with Marie.
Yeah.
Oh, how fabulous. Thank you.
good.
I've been listening to the whole show, and I kept calling in, and of course it was busy. I thought, well, somebody else needs it
Well,
more
it's
than I do
unbusy
today.
now.
But hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa, so where do you live?
I live in Tacoma, and
Oh,
I studied
close.
Reiki with you, Marie.
Oh, thank you so much.
so I know there's
was
not
it
a lot
fun?
of time,
Was
but
it
I'll
fun?
just tell you really quickly.
Yeah.
I've been doing a lot of lucid dreaming recently, so I don't
Yeah.
know whether I dreamt this or whether I made it up, but I got this message. The voice said, you have a mass behind your right eye.
Ooh.
I know. And I thought,
Oh.
so I asked guides to talk to me some more about this, and I haven't been getting any information, and I thought, I'm going to call Marie and see what she sees.
Okay, so have you had any weird change in your vision?
No.
Okay, so when was the last time you went to the eye doctor?
It's probably been a couple of years.
So let's go make an appointment for the eye doctor, but I don't see a mass behind your right eye. So
Great.
Okay, this is good. And you don't seem, you're not worried or concerned. So somehow maybe you misinterpreted that information, but I do want you to go to the eye doctor because they can see those things. Luckily, most people, when they get diagnoses that have anything to do with the brain, eye doctors are, kind of on the front leading part of that, which is fascinating. So when you had that experience, so it was a dream.
Well, I'm not sure because I have gotten these sort of
I
clairaudient-
totally got it. Okay, well, I think. So was
Okay,
this
go ahead.
was this during a dream?
Maybe.
You're not sure.
I have these vivid dreams before waking in the morning,
Yeah.
but that's also like right after I wake is when I sometimes get these messages.
Right. And so you think that the message happened during the dream state?
Maybe.
Okay, but you weren't awake when you received the message.
Well, like I say, I sometimes lucid dream, so I'm not sure.
Okay. So here's because dreams I have only a minute. Dreams usually are not translated exactly the way they happen. I think this is about your third eye. I think you have this beautiful, amazing, I already drew it out, gorgeous third eye. You need to spend more time in your emotional body, take some classes about intuition. I think your intuition's on fire. That's what I think this is about.
Oh, I love it. I want to
Okay.
take your March class.
Oh, well, go ahead and sign up.
Hurry up and sign up now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Melissa. Have
Thank
a
you. I love
gorgeous
you.
day. I love you too. Thanks for calling in. And we do have a Reiki workshop coming up, but it is sold out. I'm taking a waiting list for individuals. So maybe I'll teach one in the spring if we have enough people on the waiting list.
See what happens. You snooze, you lose. Got to get in now.
Well, I try to keep it at 40. I keep it low so I can bring as much individual attention to people who come to the class. And it looks like Melissa had fun. So we're looking forward for those people. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Joyful blessings. Have a gorgeous, gorgeous day. Thank you, Benny, for all your help. Bye-bye for now.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host,